Okay. Hello, everyone. I'm Allie. I don't typically do videos, so bear with me. But today I'm going to be talking about the book, um, I already forgot, Boy Erased. So basically, the supplies you'll need tonight. I'm here in my reading corner in my room, which is just a really comfy area where I like to sit and relax. Obviously, you need the book, Boy Erased. This is just the paperback version. Um, and some optional things, a nice little face mask, love to do these while I'm reading, and a nice little drink. So I'm just going to be reviewing Boy Erased for you. So my thoughts about this, it was written by, I believe it's pronounced Garrard Conley. I'm not sure because I've never seen it spelled that way, but he is growing up in the Bible Belt in a small town in Arkansas. And this is just a little bit about the book and kind of the backstory. So he has a Baptist pastor as a father, and his dad wasn't always a pastor. They'll kind of get to that, but it was definitely a big part of his life, and he was very embedded in his church life and the community there in his Arkansas town when he was growing up, obviously. And when it starts out, he like has a girlfriend who's a part of the church as well, and him kind of going through that. So yeah, he's living in, the small Arkansas town in the Bible Belt, of course, with a Baptist father. And Baptists have been known to be more, I don't know, I guess strict or like literal minded when it comes to the Bible. At least that's kind of my view of it. So he's struggling. He does make it all the way to his freshman year of college, and then he is outed to his parents, which is pretty crazy. And I won't go into the details of that because you'll find out in the book, and I don't want to like spoil it or anything. And also, it is pretty sensitive material. So he's outed, and then it kind of follows him struggling. He has this life, he has this family, this community, the church life. It's all he's known. He loves his mom, his family, but they don't know what to do with him. They're very confused. How could this happen to our son? What does this mean? What do we even do? And he just kind of the whole time is very much like, okay, I am just going to go with whatever they do because he himself is confused, as I can't speak on it personally, but I feel like many, people in the gay community have also felt this way. So he is just very confused and conflicted on what to do. I mean, he says on one hand, if someone can really change me, then okay, I'll go through whatever you want me to do. That's fine. So eventually his parents decide to send him to this pretty infamous gay conversion camp. It was trying to research. It says at the end of the book, I don't think they're really around anymore. Yeah, LAA was the name of it. I don't believe they're around, but there's still gay conversion, therapy camps, of course, around today. But this was kind of the biggest and most notorious one. So he goes up to Tennessee for that, and it's originally just starts out as a 2-week program. And again, we'll get into that, but basically my thoughts on the book, yeah, and it's going through that in his life, and just it's very conflicting. Like, what do I do? I mean, what do you even do in that situation? Because like, you don't want to say no, and your parents disown you or stop talking to you, and you know, you don't get to live a normal life or go to college because they're stopped paying for things. So you're feeling very conflicted, kind of about what to do, and it's really hard. I mean, I don't even know what I do in this situation. It's very hard to grapple with the feeling of this is who I am, and I'm just coming to terms with who I am. This is new to me as well, or somewhat new, I guess, or maybe the realization, and having the people who love you be so against you, be against everything you stand for, or not everything, but just who you are. And so it is a very nicely written book. I wouldn't say the language is necessarily like very complex or anything like that. It is, which can be nice to have a really beautifully written piece, but it is also nice because it's really simple to follow. It's like plain language, and it's still, I'm not saying passages weren't well written or that it's not a nice story to follow, but just it is a fast read in that sense. It's, yeah, pretty simple language. And the way it's set up can get a little, I wouldn't say confusing. It like jumps, from one point in time to later on, like when he's younger to when he's in conversion camp to now at the end when he's an adult and like his relationship now with his parents. At times it was like a little weird for me though because it kind of starts off a little backstory and then all of a sudden in camp, but then we go way back to get even more backstory on his life and his time in college before camp. So it's a little weird in that sense. I would have liked to have it in the middle towards the end be a little more going back and forth between the two. So it's just a little weirdly set up. But overall, again, just a fast read, really nice to read. I also think that going into it, I think when you hear gay conversion therapy camp, kind of my thoughts, and I had actually seen the trailer for the movie right before I watched this, and I don't know if it's something he just didn't mention in the book unless I missed it, or if it's something they just made up for the movie, because, obviously they add things in theatrically to it. But in the trailer, I saw them like hitting a boy in the camp with a Bible. So I was thinking if things were going to get like pretty violent at one point, but it never really got there, at least that I recall, unless I just completely forgot a chunk of something. So it never really got violent. So those were not that that's bad, because it's good that he wasn't subjected to any of that. But that was definitely just my original thoughts on that is I thought, things are going to get pretty crazy. So if that's what you're expecting from this book, either go in with different expectations or maybe don't read it because it's nothing like crazy like that. But what you do get out of it is a lot of mental and psychological, them messing with the patient's mental and psychological well-being, definitely, which to me alone is disturbing enough. So they really go through a lot of like what he was dealing with, obviously already with the confusion and feeling hurt about, his parents and already having to go to conversion camp, but also then just they get into these details in the camp of like trying to trace back the bad things in your family's past to figure out why you're gay, which is like so obviously not okay, doesn't make sense, is crazy. But also, not only that, but one thing I should mention is in what he says in the book, the camp is set up a lot like Alcoholics Anonymous, which is very strange. And already it's like, okay, this is a ripoff of another organization, which should already be a red flag besides the fact that it's a gay conversion camp. But not just that, but he's also in this room with these like actual pedophiles and, people who have dealt with bestiality, things like that, mixed in with LGBTQ youth. And that's just also mind blowing to me, like that they're saying that people who are pedophiles are not only on the same level as gay people, but need to be treated equally and be treated in the same program. So that's already pretty crazy. So it definitely goes into a lot of detail about the psychological part of it. And not just in camp, but him trying to kind of rehash his childhood and really go through these memories of like, wow, I used to do this. Like he talks at one point in the beginning, so I mean, not a spoiler, of him just getting so angry that he would just pee on his carpet instead of going to the bathroom. So like him really just trying to break that down. So I think in that part, it's very beautiful in that sense. And yeah, not what I was expecting, but I definitely enjoyed this a lot, and I can't wait to go see the movie hopefully this week or next week while it's in theaters. I think overall, I'm excited to see what else Garrard has to offer because I know he is a writer. He does things for online news sites, and hopefully he'll be writing another book. So I'm interested to see that, and I'm glad everything turned out okay for him. Um, because like he said, I won't give too much away, but he said some people were there for 2 years and some people were there for so long they ended up becoming the counselors. So it's like literally their whole life going from being treated to being a counselor there. No escape. So I'm glad he got out somewhat okay and he's been able to kind of deal with this even though he's still grappling with what he went through in all of his past. Overall, pretty simply written, but nicely written, quick read, an important story because these things are still happening today. And yeah, I would definitely recommend it for any type of person who's interested in nonfiction stories like this. Yeah.